Hey, I'm Bass Pro Shop, Andy Montgomery, here to talk about fall fishing, more specifically power fishing in the fall. It's fun! I'm covering the East Coast region today. That's my specific region, that's where I live. Everything I talk about today is tied on 20-pound line. What more fun can you have than if you got all your lures tied on 20-pound line? And fall fishing can be a great time to power fish. It's one of my favorite times of year. I had a lot of success growing up. We're just now wrapping up our Bass Pro Tour season. The wind's blowing a little bit. There's a little bit of coolness in the air, and it gets them juices flowing for that fall bass fishing. Number one by far is shad and the bait fish shad migration. This time of year we get the shorter days. I really believe fish, nature, wildlife leads into bait fish go by a length of days more specifically than they go by the water temperature. We're gonna get to them shorter days. Them shad are gonna feel that. They're gonna start what we call our fall migration. They're gonna start migrating to the backs of the creek, backs of the long coves, backs of the bays. That's where they're gonna start migrating. That's where supper is. It's just like me. If I know where a plate of shrimp is, that's where I'm going. These bass know where the shad are going, so that's where they're gonna go too. The bass are gonna migrate with them. How are we gonna target these bass this time of year?
He smoked that thing. What a day.
Well, I was gonna say everything needs to be shad oriented. Well, we're gonna back up just a little bit and say 95% of your bait selection needs to be shad oriented, shad colors. I got my 4 favorites. I narrowed it down to 4, all power fishing techniques, big line, big rods. I'm gonna start with the spinnerbait. Historically, you go back over the years, the spinnerbait has been tremendous in the pre-spawn, but it's really shined in the fall of the year. Just mimics those bait fish that we talked about. When you're choosing a spinnerbait, this is the Strike King spinnerbait, choose shad oriented baits. Choose willow leaf blades. You know, a lot of times in the pre-spawn, we use them bigger blades, the Indianas, the Colorados, that we can really slow it down. Use a lot of white and chartreuse, maybe even some reds. Not this time of year, not in the fall. That looks just like a shad when he's flicking. This has 2 silver blades, as you can see. A blue glimmer shirt. A lot of the bait fish in our region have that kind of blue hue to them, so they throw off a little blue shim. So I really like the blue glimmer type skirt. Silver willow leaf blades. Now, when you're fishing this bait, it's not a slow rolling deal this time of year. You want to keep it high in the water column. Most of the time, this time of year, the shad are going to be higher in the water column, especially in the backs of these coves. Just keep it really high in the water column, kind of wind it somewhat fast. Going into number 2. Now, this is the Strike King Thunder Cricket. One of my favorite baits. If you know me, you've heard me talk about a thunder cricket a lot. It again imitates shad really well in the fall of the year. Again, I've got a white one here, silver blade. I'm gonna use this is a Strike King blade minnow, but some type of fluke type straight tail. I don't want a whole lot of action this time of year. Well, this creates a lot of action, but I don't want the dual claws that we use sometimes. I want that really shad oriented type of bait. And I'm gonna combine these two on where you fish them. You fish them in the exact same places. Again, I talked about winding them higher in the water column. I like to get in the backs of these places, the backs of these creeks and coves, and fish targets. So whether that be docks, whether that be laydowns, you can get out in the middle of flats when you see the fish actively busting, but if you don't see them actively busting, it's really good to just get around some targets, you know, and throw around docks and throw around stumps, laydowns. If there's grass back there, you can't fish out in the middle around the grass. When do I choose which one of these? I like the spinnerbait when the water's kind of clear. Let me just say clearer. So when the water's kind of clean, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4 foot visibility, that's when I really like the spinnerbait. When it's dirty, thunder cricket throws off a tremendous amount of vibration, and thunder cricket really seems to shine when it's dirty. That's the reason I kind of use the straight white instead of the blue glimmer. That white's really gonna pop in that dirty water versus the blue glimmer kind of gonna be more translucent in that little bit cleaner water. So that's two baits. You fish them very similar. Really the only thing that separates them for me is the water clarity. When do I use which one? Now, absolutely one of my favorites, a buzz bait. Old school power fishing buzz baits. Now this is the Strike King skipping buzz bait, which is one I designed. It is available at Bass Pro Shop, but you're able to put plastics on it. Now you can see here I have a white Strike King Rage swimmer on the back of it. Nothing imitates a shad better. Fleeing on top of the water, trying to get away from a predator or whatever, and really triggers that bass instinct to go bite than a buzz bait. I like this sucker any color water. Dirty, clear, it don't matter.
I think he might be a good one.
One thing, and this goes for all of them, but especially a buzz bait, I want a little bit of ripple. Wind is super key in the fall, so fish decide it's got a little bit of ripple in it, and that's really gonna help you get more bites on all of them, especially the buzz bait. The buzz bait really shines on them cloudy, maybe even a rainy day. It's not just a cloudy day bite. It will work really good in the sunshine, but it seems to shine, you know, on them cloudy, rainy type days.
Getting some fun.
Last but not least, and this is the reason I didn't say all shad-oriented baits, because you always gotta have something flipping. Gotta have something rigged up to flip. When do I use this? This is a Strike King Rage Bug, 3/8 ounce weight. When do I use this? Well, I'm gonna use it in the same type of area. All of these, same type of areas, backs of creeks where the shad are migrating, because remember, shad are as important as shrimp are to me, to a bass. They go where the shad are. Shad are gonna be in the backs. When it's kind of tough, you can kind of sense that the fish are not really feeding. That's when you can take this and pitch it around any of them objects, trees, docks, anything in that area that you know a lot of bait fish are. You always need something to flip. Again, when I feel or I sense it's a little bit tough, you know, the fish are not, let's say, biting, so to speak, or not feeding at that moment, that's when I really like to flip. Shad are still number one, they gotta be presents, but I'm just flipping around the dock poles, around those laydowns, around the stumps, that type of thing. So that's 4 baits. They're all tied on 20-pound fluorocarbon line. They're all tied on the Pro SP. This is the Loon's Pro SP skipping pitching reel. They are available at Bass Pro Shop, also either online or in the store. When you talk about target oriented, when you talk about shallow power fishing, there's never been a reel built better than this one right here, the Loon's Pro SP. Everything I mentioned is available at Bass Pro Shop, so go into the store and don't hang up your rods in the fall. Don't hang them up. The weather gets good, it gets cool. We done sweated all summer. The leaves are starting to turn, the shad is starting to migrate, and the bass will start biting. One more thing, I almost forgot. Some of the best fishing in the fall is on them cloudy, dreary, rainy days. It could be cool, so this is the time of year. Change out my Bass Pro Shops boat bag, which is where I carry all my rain suits. This is the Bass Pro Shops Guidewear light rain suit. It is tremendous for them summertime thunderstorms when it's hot, it's muggy. You don't want that big rain suit. But on some of the best fishing days in the fall, if you wore this joker, you would freeze to death. I changed it out for the heavy duty Bass Pro Shops Guidewear. It's gonna keep me comfortable, it's gonna keep me out on them long, rainy days. That's it, I forgot that one thing, but we got it. Power fishing in the fall of the year.